and now we're live. Fantastic.
Oh, it does say on air. That's cool.
Yeah. All right, welcome everybody to the first episode of F Stops here, and my name's Joe, and I'm joined by Josh and Zach. And you guys go ahead and introduce yourself while we're at it.
Yes, I'm Josh, drinking from a 24 to 105 F4 lens mug.
Nice.
And I'm Zach, drinking beer.
Yeah, but don't you have a special mug?
I do.
Yes.
It's a custom pint glass that I got for Valentine's Day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. What does it say? Because I couldn't see it from my end, but
The E-Golf Brewing Company.
That's sweet.
Finally.
There's
Finally.
a picture of them up on Untapped if you're really interested in seeing it.
Zach brews his own beer, just so everybody knows.
That's impressive.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. So I think that the first couple of these are probably going to be a little bit interesting just to see how things go. But I'm based out of Sunnyvale, California, myself, and let's see what we have on this list. Primary shooting style. Where are we going with that?
What do you shoot?
Oh, I would say what I get paid for is engagement in what I get paid for is engagement in portraits. What do I enjoy to shoot is everything from my dog playing on the beach to sunrise or sunset.
My primary shooting style is wide open, up close. Favorite lens is 50-1.4. I spent all last year doing second shooting for the photography company. I'm kind of on retainer for them this year, but did a bunch of second shooting, probably about 8 or 9 weddings last year, and a lot of fun. It's actually more fun doing second shooting because you can take all the shots you actually want to take that you wish you could take when you're doing the formals. So I had a blast with that. I've actually got probably about 8,000 raw files to go through to put in my portfolio.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I've only scratched the surface with that. They're all on CD. Go figure. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. But yeah, that's what I do. I would rather be shooting airplanes and stuff. And
Ooh, I wouldn't say that out loud.
We are live, aren't we? Yeah. I would rather be aiming
Taking
my
pictures.
camera towards planes at an air show.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, not shooting planes, but yeah, that's what I like doing. I like shooting inanimate objects and nature and stuff too, so it's easier to pose them.
I like shooting babies.
Used to eat them, but, you know.
So I'm out of Baltimore. I do primarily shoot newborns, moms, families, engagement, really just people in general. I'm actually taking the exact opposite path that Josh has taken, and then jumping full-blown into weddings this year as a primary shooter. I actually just booked my second one here for October, so that it's going to be interesting. The bride said she has. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
The bride said she has got 100% faith in me, so she's a fool.
I hope she's not tuning in right now.
No, I don't. No. I'm actually really I'm excited about this one. The wedding's local, but the reception is actually at Jeppy's.
Really?
Jeppy's, how do you say it? I don't know. I've never been.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about only because I'm from the
Full
area,
faith,
but other
full
people
faith.
might.
That's right.
Zach,
So-
do you want to explain it? Because I'm pretty sure nobody outside of Baltimore knows what it is.
Yeah, well, I don't either. So
Oh boy.
let me look it up. It's
The
it's
entertainment
actually
museum, I'm assuming
it's
you're
like
talking about?
like a pop culture-y type museum, I guess. Entertainment. I'm looking at the webpage right now. Looks like a lot of comic stuff, special exhibitions.
So the cool thing about that, we went as part of, or I went as part of the Baltimore Buzz Brigade when I was in Baltimore. And what's fascinating about that place is there's like super long hallways that are basically entirely lit on the sides with all this stuff, and it's just like floor to ceiling framed like comics and prints of movies and all this kind of crazy stuff. And then people can walk into like individual rooms that are almost loosely like around the exhibit like theme. Like there's like a big comic room, and then there's other stuff from like Star Wars and whatnot. And it's if you've ever saw my pictures from Big Fun, it's kind of like that. Like there's just a bunch of toys and comics everywhere. So it's a really cool place.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And then completely in the opposite direction, the other one that I'm doing is on a farm. So
that's
really just going to cover the entire gamut of light and shadows and scenery, and it's going to be nice. So it'll be interesting to see. That's for sure. I've got the permission from all of the parties involved to just talk about it as much as I want. So I plan on it. Yeah.
Great. So what is everybody shooting this week? Anything in particular? Anything special?
There's actually a guy, Christian Gideon. I doubt he's watching this right now, but I'm kind of a fan of his. He's out of Missouri. ChristianGideon.com. I'm sure Zach's searching him right now. But he's going to be in town. A friend of his is going to be up the street from me pitching for I forget what baseball team up in Vera during spring training. So he was going to meet up with me. So it'd be a chance to kind of meet up with somebody who I kind of like their style. And I'm not trying to be like him, but it would be cool to hang out. I don't hang out with people of caliber beyond myself a lot. So it'd be a great opportunity if I make that work. See how that goes. I've got a new Joby strap and low pro bag that I got at sweet discounts to go try out this weekend too. So that's where I'm headed right now.
Sweet.
I'm actually not shooting anything this week, so I'm actually not sure what. Yeah, well, it's that weird first quarter of the year where, I mean, maybe not in sunny Florida or California, but up here in the glorious, terrible East Coast, it's gray and lousy and cold and rainy, and actually we're getting 3 inches of rain. But I think Florida got that this morning. So there really isn't anything to do outside, and then really not a whole lot going on. I know there's a couple of moms that are getting ready to pop that we're going to be doing soon, and a lot of birthdays rolling around for some newborns that I shot last year, but that's all in next couple of months. So I did just do a 1-year birthday invitations. Those haven't gone public yet at the request of the client, but they were a lot of fun. And then if anybody has had a chance to check it out on my blog, got into a little tiff with Walmart about them, which was pretty cool. But yeah. So, Joe, what are you shooting?
I'm doing a little bit more project film this week.
Yes.
I'm kind of gotten a backlog in developing, actually, just because it's expensive in, I guess, large quantities. Yeah, I know.
You don't just plug that. You don't plug that into your computer and it downloads the photos.
In a roundabout way, kind of,
okay.
But it involves a film developer machine first, and then I gotta like plug that into the computer. So it's usually
that closet behind you would be a great dark room.
Probably if it wasn't full of clothes. Yeah, eventually there are some places I've heard in San Francisco that I can do my own darkroom developing, and as this year goes on, now that I actually have more money to play with, I'll probably end up doing that in some regards. I don't think it's going to be a total focus of mine necessarily, but it'll be nice to do to just kind of like tweak stuff. And then as for all of the stuff I do have developed, I'm planning on renting a scanner, probably from Borrow Lenses or something like that, to actually scan all the negatives that I want to put in the book, like a better quality resolution. Because right now what Walgreens is giving me, for instance, is JPEGs that are less than 1 meg in quality. So they're okay, but they just look grainier than they need to be.
Do a little research.
Please tell me you've got the negatives. Please tell me you have the negatives.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Do a little research on that, because there's a company, I'll have to look it up, I can't remember who it was now, But they do what they call a shoebox special, where
Okay.
they ship you a shoebox, and you fill it with your negatives, and for $200 they'll develop everything in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Develop or scan?
Well, I don't know. I didn't look. I don't shoot film.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, because I don't need it developed, but scanning, yes. So that
Right.
could be worthwhile.
Hey, I will say word of caution with Walgreens versus like shipping it out or going somewhere else. There's a world of difference between having a guy at Walgreens develop your negatives versus somebody who's actually looking at each frame and checking color clarity. And when I was from the time I was 16 to the time I was 21, I shot straight film. I went to my local place up the road. They're actually out of business now, which is kind of sad. But I literally gave them probably about $300 a month in business between like Tri-X and all the stuff I was buying and all that. I'd shoot 32 exposure, 36 exposure rolls and all. But they would go through and I have some amazing like 4x6s that they printed for me just because they go through and expose and check each frame of that roll.
Okay.
So I mean, it was, and then I'd go to I went one time. I went to I forget where, and they were doing just basic Fuji machine process and all that, and I was so disappointed. It was just, and then so it made me go back. I mean, I paid through the nose for it, but the image quality. I mean, just shooting on a Nikon FM10 with like a 70 to 200 lens and all that, but the quality was insane. The blacks were black and they were using good Kodak paper and good Fuji paper, so it was really good. It's just thoughts, but
Oh no, absolutely, yeah. And I found of course I'm blanking out it. There's a studio out of Los Angeles that does stuff like that, and you can actually mail your film to them wherever you're in the country, and then like they'll develop it well, and then mail it back to you. So it's just
a little bit pricier than Walgreens, I'm sure.
Yeah. So
yeah, but
I
it's,
mean,
it's
right
worth.
now,
I'm sure it's worth every penny.
well, yeah, and I'm sure it is, and that's the thing is I think as I go through this process, I'm going to start putting more money into developing. Right now, I'm just trying to make sure stuff actually comes out when I shoot, because I mean that's the main reason I did it, is just to make sure that I'm a little bit better of a manual photographer than I was. Because if you screw up in film, you're done. You don't even know it. That's
You're
the
wasting
thing.
money.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
Zach.
No,
So,
no, I'm saying if you screw up in film, you're essentially pissing money away.
that's true. That's absolutely true.
You can't
So-
just erase the film.
Well, you can, but not the way that I would want to. So,
There's a delete button on that AA1, right?
hey, yeah, exactly.
Little trash. The trash.
Rewind the
I
film.
can't tell you how I've already like probably accidentally exposed 20 frames just by loading the film in to the camera during like when it's sunny outside or something. So
There's a cable on the Golden Gate Bridge still ringing. Why won't you delete?
So yeah, it's just something where it's been an interesting experience so far, and I'm not going back to film or anything like that, but it's fun to kind of have a side project within a side project, arguably.
I mean, to be honest, one of the reasons why I went straight digital is because I couldn't afford to develop it right anymore, and it was just like one of those things where it was like, just for me, it was like I knew what I was getting when I was paying through the nose for developing and paying through the nose for film. So I just, did we lose that? Oh, there it is.
Right here.
Yeah, no, I knew what I was, I knew what I was getting, and so it's just kind of like I figured I'd just jump into digital, and actually I'm having regrets about it now. I wish I had stuck with film a little harder, but.
Well, did you sell all your film stuff, or is that?
I made a questionable trade with my FM10 that still looked brand new that I treated like a baby in a $100 Tamarack bag with all the, everything to protect it, used it for years. Traded it for an AE1 that I didn't inspect too well, so I haven't really shot any film on it yet, but I also have a Pentax Spotmatic that's about 35 years old that I shot a roll of film. The light meter didn't work, and I still haven't developed the roll, but yeah, the cool thing about it is I had to shoot guessing about all the exposures and everything. So
Interesting.
but
Did it come out?
I haven't checked the roll yet. I lost it somewhere, so I gotta go find it and develop it. But I'll develop it at Walgreens just to see what happened. I've got a local place too. I happen to be really good friends with the general manager of the good photo store around the street. So yeah. But yeah, so I get the hookup. He got me a low pro bag on Saturday for $30.
Oh wow, nice, very
So,
nice.
but yeah.
So you said that you were shooting Nikon and you went Canon, and you shoot Canon now, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a. I look at all my friends who have Nikon, and I'm kind of jealous. But at the same time, I've got so much invested in Canon now, and I've got so many friends who can lend me stuff, and I just know the system better, so I've kind of just stuck with Canon, particularly because like the stuff's cheaper. Like if I wanted to go get a Rokinon lens or get like a, I don't know, like one of those third-party lenses, I know they're probably going to work better than trying to get a third-party for a Nikon, and then cross your fingers and pray. And I don't know, it's been a thing. I love my Nikon glass and my Nikon film stuff, but I happen to find a Digital Rebel on sale, so plunk cash down for it, and that kind of
The old
started the whole
Rebel.
thing. Yes, XT baby. That thing
Oh,
would
nice.
still work if I get the shutter to work.
Well, I thought my XTI was old.
No, I've got some great shots from it because I put a 51.4 on it, and that's when I blew my brains out because I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like once you go away from the kit lens, your mind's blown.
Yeah.
You're like, oh wow, you can actually take good pictures. That's why I try to tell people. I'm always like, go out get a 51.8, go out get something cool. But I know we're not trying to be a beginner's chat here, but
Well, yeah, but at the same time, I mean,
yeah.
having
That was my
51.8.
experience. I had a wedding photographer who I know really well, rootweddings.com. I think they're amazing people. They're awesome. He sold me his 50mm 1.4 for $45, and
I got mine for 50.
I
It was
still use it.
fantastic.
So,
Nice, very nice.
so that's yeah. I would go back to Nikon. I think, considering how their new bodies are looking, but that's another discussion.
For next time, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canon versus Nikon, the endless loop.
Oh yes.
Well, now you got to
yes.
throw Olympus in there because I'm sure if Jamie was here, he'd be having a fit about
He's
it.
gonna wish he was here now.
Yep.
Although
So, yeah,
I'm
no.
jealous of him having a body cap lens. I think I need one for my 50D just to run around with.
So do we want to start with the news stories that we were discussing?
Yeah, we may as well touch on them because I think we'll run through those real quick.
I didn't put the first one on there, so whoever did
I
that.
did.
Okay.
Um,
Go for it. Zach.
Well, it's funny too because so the article that we're talking about is it's from Peter Pixel. And it was actually about an ethics breach in a prize-winning picture, and it was a photo that looked like it was from an episode of Duck Dynasty.
Yeah.
With a bigger guy with a beard and a shotgun, and they called him a former Marine Corps sniper. If anybody is actually watching and can get to the chat, I'm gonna post it in
Well,
there.
they're not going to be able to view the chat
Why not?
because it's a hangout on air.
That's stupid.
Well, I didn't make it.
All right. Well, we'll put it in the show notes that we're gonna put under the YouTube video, right, Joe?
Yes.
Next time
well,
I'll bring a whiteboard
I
and
think
just hold up
that
a link
if
on the
we-
whiteboard.
I mean, I think the cameraman thing can work. Otherwise, I can just draw it on my iPad.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I don't know if you guys can see this because it's probably going to just be reflecting. So,
Turn off
That's
your-
too meta. That's too
Turn your
meta.
phone down.
oh. Anyway,
Nobody wants to hear
What?
your sound.
Did you just pull that out of bubble? Oh, okay.
It's a speech bubble.
Oh, that's awesome.
oh boy.
I got it for babies and kids and families.
All right, so now you have to write down the whole link on
I'm
that.
not going to.
We'll
So,
just
anyways, so this article,
TTS,
yes, come to find out, it's also part of a series of photographs that were taken in Rochester, in a part of Rochester called the Crescent, which I guess is pretty rough. I stay away from New York as much as possible.
I have a friend up there, and that's what he says too. That's a kind
It's
of
rough.
interesting area.
So I guess
yeah,
the
Stein.
whole big thing was that it wasn't actually a former Marine Corps sniper. and was also not in the Crescent. So really the article just kind of touches on the ethics of lying in photography and, excuse me, yeah, just kind of exposed it for what it was. And I don't know, we can kind of discuss, I was hoping we could kind of go into just a discussion of ethics, because I think, especially with digital, it's really difficult to know whether or not things are 100% true or not. I mean, like I posted a photo the other night of some incredible sunsets that probably weren't that incredible, but you know, with a little bit of touch up and some color correction here and there, and changing the white balance, you can make it look. Now, don't get me wrong, my Key West sunset photos that I took, if anybody saw those are 100% real.
Yeah, those are legit. Joe's doing so.
Yeah.
Is that showing up backwards? It is.
No, it's actually working.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, it was
just for the record, this isn't the first time I've done this in a Google Hangout. I like to pretend this is like the ESPN board behind whatever the guy that does it on Around the Horn, and I'll just be doodling random crap throughout the entire thing. So just ignore me.
It needs to be in some kind of subtweet context, like something referring to something without referring to anything.
Yeah, and the great part about this is I'm getting Google chats while we're talking about people saying that are watching that are calling me an idiot. So it's even better.
I think the weird thing is, I know not everybody's read the article, but the thing that struck me is, I think in the middle of all that, it seemed to be like they were also calling into question the fact that he had posed the shot rather than shoot it like a photojournalist.
Yeah, but he was at the gun range and basically asked the guy to pose.
Yeah. And I guess the question is, are journalists ever supposed to, or, anybody for that matter, like a wedding photographer says, I do photojournalistic style. Are you actually, what are we calling a question here? Should he be actually posed, I think? Is that kind of especially because he's from Magnum, he's from, the Robert Capa, the Robert Capa, I don't know, I've blanked on the word, but the whole thing, Robert Capa and Henry Cartier-Bresson and a couple other guys started Magnum, and the whole thing was that, even if it's the 11 frames that survived D-Day, that's what I'm going to get, versus posing some guy with a gun somewhere. I think that was the thing that struck me in the article, is that the whole, he was posing this guy versus, just shooting whatever was going on right then.
So, okay, so here's the question, as I adjust this damn thing so I can actually not have some glare. So I guess Zach, is this what you're kind of going at along the lines of, when do you touch up a photo and when do you tell people that you touch up a photo?
No, I just think it's the whole lion thing. I mean, they got I don't remember what the article was exactly or where the photo was taken or for what it was, but there was just here a couple months ago, they busted a guy for, or they disqualified him because he instead of, it was a really nice looking picture. We can't see that because sunny California sucks, and you've got way too much glare. Here on the real,
my blinds are closed.
Here in the real coast, where it's not 5:30 fake time, but. It really kind of
okay.
But that article, that particular article, was it mentioned how the photograph was of like tribesmen or something. I don't remember what it was. I'll have to find it later. But essentially, what happened was the guy did nothing to the photo except spot remove a person from the
yes,
image. Remember that? And they said if he would have cropped him out, the photo still would have won. But because he digitally manipulated it, because
that National Geographic picture or something?
Yeah. Let me see. I'll have to see if I can find it.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I remember what you're talking about. I can't remember the actual thing, but yeah, I know what Zach's talking about. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Like, we found out you pulled somebody out of the picture, so guess what? We're pulling this shot from the winning category.
Yes, I found it. Hold on, let me do this here.
Go ahead and screen share that.
Yeah. So this was the photo right here that actually
that
won. Whoops! I just made you guys giant. So this is the photo that actually won and then was disqualified. And what I don't know what that is. What is cameraman?
Sorry, I'm trying to make your screen be open all the time.
Oh, I gotcha. So this is the photo that actually won. And they said if he would have cropped it, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but if you would have cropped it right here, it'd have been fine. But instead what he did was he digitally removed this part here on the left.
Yeah.
And that disqualified the photo. So it's kind of, you know, it just kind of calls into question, you know, how much are we really seeing real, and where do we ethically draw the line? And I don't know, it just yeah. So
No, I mean that's actually, it touches on something that's kind of at the core of what I do, is like, you know, that's the whole thing of, you know, I don't use full Photoshop right now, and one of the reasons why I never have is because it's been too tempting to go in and, like, you know, the bride has that one little distinctive mole, or, you know, something like that, and it's like, you know, do you get rid of it because you want to make them happy, or do you leave it there because, you know, I don't even want the option to do that so
it
much.
opens
Like,
a can of worms.
yeah, I had, you know, if I'm asked to do it, I had one bride, and she had, like, she was a young girl, so she had, like, you know, the whole, you know, all the, some face acne and stuff, and the makeup couldn't cover it. So I kind of cleaned that up, but I didn't do it too much, because at some point I felt like I was actually, you know, and I know people that do the full, I'm not detracting from people that do the full artsy, you know, cleanup thing. That's their thing. But for me, it's ethically, it's like I prefer to actually take the picture, know that that's what I shot and that's who they are. You know, so there's a thing between, you know, removing something and then actually taking away from what that picture is, and taking away from your own, like, I guess, integrity. That's
Well,
the right
when does it stop becoming photography, and when does it start becoming art?
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, are you trying to do art, or are you trying to do photography? I mean,
Right.
you're shooting a photojournalistic shot, and you pull something out of that shot that you right in that moment took, you know, and, you know, people call that into question, and they'll call you out for it, you know, because you're advertising yourself as, you know, photojournalist or whatever. And, but yeah, I mean, that's the, pardon me, got a dry throat going on here.
Well, that's another thing too. Is what I didn't mention at the beginning was I actually got my start working for just a small local news site. I was doing some freelance work for them, and one of the things that my mentor at the site had constantly tried to drive home was, remember that you're trying to get these photos to look as true to the form that they actually are, you know, going straight into the lens. So very little touch up gets done on that stuff, and if we're going to start, you know, if the drive is to these really nice pictorials and in magazines and everything else, somewhere that line's got to be drawn. So
Yeah,
we can probably move on to the next topic. Otherwise, I'm going to
yeah.
sit here
I was
and
just
talk
say
about.
that's the big disconnect that was lost in film versus digital, is the whole, you know, when you shoot something in film and you develop it, there's a lot, it's harder to try to hide what you shot, you know, versus like now digital, you can go in and you take a picture, you don't like it, you erase it. But I mean, what if that was the picture you were supposed to take, you know, like, you know. But
So,
anyway, moving on.
actually, one of the people that are viewing, it looks like at the moment the only person viewing, Ryan just sent me one, so I'm going to actually screen share it because it's very timely about this, and it's from Deadspin, and it's talking about how a Washington Post photographer's wrestling photo was disqualified for being
Oh,
terribly
wow.
photoshopped, and here's why, because this is the original image,
Oh, yeah.
and this is what was submitted. So,
Yeah.
so apparently he entered it, but I guess, you know, it's something where it kind of argues that. Let me turn the screen share back off. It's something that argues, you know, and I don't know because I haven't submitted a lot of photos to photo contests, but along the lines of, you know, how much digital manipulation can you do? Because Zach, for instance, he has a very distinct shooting style, and he's told me that I have the same. I just like to really make, you know, skies vibrant and stuff like that, to more reflect what I saw in my eye, not necessarily what the camera came out with, or like digitally adding vignetting or something along those lines. So it's, you know, the question is like, how far is too far? Obviously, in this instance, taking out somebody from the photo was too far. But
Yeah.
you know, what if what if he was just skin smoothing the wrestler? Is that too much?
Is there a line, or where does that line start?
Right.
I mean, if you're shooting that for art, like if that was going to be something you frame and put on a wall for the wrestler, I could see pulling that guy. But if you're going to advertise that and enter that in a contest as something that, yes, I was there and I took, and this was that moment, that very Kodak moment right there, and then you pull that part out. I mean, that I think that's where people are. If the guy had put it in a gallery and called it, hey, this is my artistic picture, or this is like my art. I think there would have been a lot less in question, because there's different ethics for different, whatever you put that label on. I think that's what people are, that's what people call you out on, is what you're actually calling your stuff.
All right. So should we go to the next topic? Because I think we could probably go down the rabbit hole for this for a little while.
Yeah, that's probably a bad idea.
So the next one we have, and I'm going to go back to screen share briefly, is
Oh.
Just dead air.
We're here.
the picture that that Joe's screen is frozen on.
Cisco wireless.
Yeah.
Hey.
And I'm back. I think.
Hey.
Yes.
We were just talking nice things about you.
Yeah, about how great.
Well, thanks. It looks like it kept it, so everything looks normal. All right. Anyway, so my computer's being a little finicky, but it was basically an article on Engadget about how Aptina just released 1080p and 4K sensors for cell phones. And while I definitely think that having a few more megapixels would necessarily hurt, I think that many people are ignoring the other part of that side, is that without glass, you don't really have anything.
Wait, what?
The sensors are great, but without having good glass,
yeah, but they can put a 28 millimeter 1.8 lens in a cell phone camera.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're putting the equivalent to 2.2 hybrid.
Yeah, whatever. Right, that. Yeah. I think so. What I took from this, more so than the picture taking aspect, was that I think that they're really going after like the all around video market, because putting 4K and 1080p. But you know what? Who has a cell phone that can store that kind of crap, or the network capability? We just switched our Verizon plan. We're now at 7 gig. I can't put that anywhere unless I get to wireless. I can't put a 5-minute 1080p 4K whatever video anywhere. I can't upload the photos to any place. I think
I don't know. I'm trying to imagine the guy that's got the 43 megapixel sensor trying to upload his 4-minute video on Starbucks Wi-Fi while he drinks a latte. I don't see that happening. Like, how are you going to do that? I mean, and then Joe points, that was my big thing too, is like, you can have all that, and you can have like an holo clip for an 8 megapixel, iPhone or whatever. But, at the end, you're still looking through kind of crappy glass with a little sensor in there that's not. I mean, that's why you'll still see people pick up a DSLR, because if you got decent glass there, I mean, you can. All it takes is an 8 megapixel sensor to get a decent 8x10.
Well, again, this is now I actually had a good conversation about this at work today. This is now going to create more armchair photographers.
Yep.
That they've got. I've got 4K capabilities in my cell phone. I'm going to go shoot a wedding. You know what that camera phone doesn't give you is experience, or an eye for art, or any of that crap. Plus, I don't really need to see 4K videos of your cat or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's.
I don't want to knock the people that are going to go use it, or the people shooting with iPhones and stuff. I mean, it's cool and all, but at the same time, I don't think that the people don't understand that just because you have something like tech spec giant megapixels doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do the most amazing things with it. It's about who's behind the camera, really. You know, that's kind of my opinion. Is like once you know what to do with it, you know, I will school you with my Rebel XT because I can operate that with my eyes closed, and I know what's going to be bad from it, what's going to be good from it. You know, and then not to bring up a sore subject or get anybody mad because I know this will come out later, and then somebody will drop me a comment, but. You know, that's how I feel. It's like, you know, if you know how to use what you've got, then the megapixel wars and the 4K wars and all that really don't have to affect you. You know, I mean, it's just all the manufacturers are shooting for whatever has, you know, can we get to triple digits in front of the, you know, the two little letters MP or whatever. You know, I don't know. I think it's. You know, we don't want to get trapped in these wars and then lose sight of the fact that we're, you know, screwing over our talent, you know, screwing over our ability to do our job.
And it's diminishing returns too. It's actually this is it's, I know I told Joe earlier today that Joe, are you still here? You're not moving.
No, I'm here. I'm listening. I have a response. I have a response prepared. I have a response prepared. I'm just waiting for you guys to talk.
Shut up. I know I told Joe earlier that I didn't ever want to get into like a tech talk or anything here, but Sony just talked about the PS4, and people were going on and on and on about the graphics and how, and I saw a really good infographic about about the diminishing returns of
I've got steady connection no matter what.
I've got FiOS.
Oh, yeah.
I really think it's probably my computer. So I just totally killed my Safari browser because it's been giving me crap.
Yeah.
Safari.
Anyway, so I'm sorry, Zach. I know I interrupted you mid-train of thought.
So I'm actually seeing if I can find it here. But basically what they kind of broke it down to was that it's the polygons, and you can only add so many more polygons to graphics before you don't notice a major difference. And I think that's kind of what we're going into with these the megapixels and all this other crap. Is you're just not going to be able to tell a difference anymore, and then they got to figure something else out to increase a number. And are people really using their cell phone cameras for that? Like, is it really that important?
I think it's a couple parts, because I mean, you have the mantra, the best camera is the one that's with you, which makes sense. I mean, it does. And then you also have along the lines of something where I think both people that have, you know, quote unquote armchair photographers, as well as wannabe pros who buy the 1DX and a 2470. And then next thing you know, they're like, oh, I know how to use this. I'm like, well, you kind of haven't even scratched the surface. And Zach, I know you're trying to show something here.
Oh, so. No, you can finish it.
But yeah, I think that, you know, this is kind of also harkens to the Instagram battle of, you know, what's a good photo, what's a good camera, what's a good photographer.
You guys know, if you look at my Facebook or, you know, my Twitter stream on the weekends, Instagram, I'm a hardcore Instagrammer. And honestly, I'm not using it because it's a good camera. You know, it's literally the camera I have in my hand when I'm driving in the car and I see an awesome sunset and just something that catches my eye and I want to capture that. So it ends up being...
Oh, was I supposed to bring my Nerf gun to this party?
No, keep going. Sorry, Josh. I was bored with Instagram talk.
But yeah, no, it's my diary of the stuff I see when I'm not hauling around a camera with a lens, you know.
You don't take your camera with you everywhere you go?
I'm not gonna knock the Instagrammers, but I'm not pretending that I'm doing pro client shots with it or I'm using it because the megapixels are awesome or because whatever is awesome. You know, I'm not gonna carry that around. That's kind of the one thing I found that works for me to do something fun.
Well, sure, it's great for sharing pictures of beer.
Right, are we gonna see your face again?
Yeah, this was the picture that I was referencing. You can see the diminishing returns. Between the last two, they literally added, 54,000 more triangles, and you got nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that's really kind of what it's boiling down to, is we can only fit so many megapixels into a sensor before we really stop seeing any difference.
Well, I don't know. I've talked to a lot of people about this, and I used to do a heck of a lot of audio recording. That's kind of my other background, is audio stuff. And the whole point is that there's the whole argument of, recording in 96 kilohertz, or you're recording in ultra high quality. At some point, you're taking all of that, and you still got to send a master in Redbook Audio, which is 44.1. And so it's the same thing with pictures. At some point, you can shoot these really high-resolution shots with giant megapixel sensors and all this stuff, and at some point, your client's going to end up putting some JPEG up there that you compressed in Lightroom or Picasso, or, some whatever you use to compress.
Or Facebook's going to take care of it for you.
Yeah, and
Right.
And it's the same thing. It's like when you go to, if you look at audio mastering studios, they have these two little speakers that are designed to replicate like one mono and like the car, like mono earphones and car speakers and stuff, because they, at the end of the day, they still have to master for mono, and they still have to master for somebody's crappy speakers to make sure it works right. So it's the same thing. You can get this super high ultra quality, but at the same time, I guess, it depends on your audience, and depends on, at some point, your image is going to get compressed, and somebody's going to look at it, either say that's a great image or it's not, and they're not going to judge it by, was that shot on a D800 versus a Canon XTI,
Right.
They're going to judge it based on what they're seeing.
Because eventually, if the trend is going the way that it is, you'll have basically people shooting gigapixel images all the time. And it's like, hey, here's a gigapixel of London that I took yesterday. And go zoom in if you're bored.
They're going to have to scale it down to fit it on hard drives because they can't keep up.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the network bandwidth isn't there to transfer it to Flickr so that they can show it off.
Or once the hard drives catch up, if they catch up, the next thing's going to be the 2 gigapixel image, and it'll forever be the we laugh at the 256 SD card, that the link you put up, what was it, Petapixel or whatever?
Yeah.
The 256 megabyte card for like $99 or whatever at Office Depot, I think.
I have one of those in my camera bag. I actually have a 64 meg compact flash card.
Nice.
Yeah.
I still have my my audio files for a piece of audio gear I've got on the 3.5 floppies still. I still have those 3.5 floppies.
Nice.
Hardcore. Yeah, it's the one-up thing. It's the difference between, are you going to keep just trying to keep up with the Joneses or do what you do best? I guess it's the eternal question. Because I'm a gearhead, but I'm glad I can't afford it all because I don't need it all.
And you can even see kind of the pro and prosumer and consumer camera makers have really kind of shied away from the whole megapixel thing. Sure, they're making 4K, and I think even 5K is being discussed right now, but that's kind of
already on the board.
Yeah, that's kind of already, but
Yes,
that's being marketed towards professional filmmakers.
And it's marketing BS, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, don't believe that your GoPro Hero 3 is actually shooting 4K.
Yeah, it's interpolated, correct? So it's just something where they're just guessing the spots between to make it 4K. So, yeah, it's 4K, but even the Red cameras don't truly shoot 4K right now. They shoot under 4K, and then they, extrapolate it up.
Did you
to
count
4K.
the pixels?
What? I didn't, but somebody who has way more time did.
Then how do you know?
So,
then how do you know?
Yeah, how do I know? Fine.
You don't.
I will send you the link afterwards.
I don't want to read a link. I want you to count the pixels, and I want you to film it with a GoPro in 1080p.
Yes.
Film you counting the pixels. It'll be meta.
All right. So, but Zach, to kind of get back on topic here, that you did raise a good point that I think we can probably finish up our conversation with is, I think that the pro and the prosumer like genres are blending, at least with Canon, and you can kind of see this because Canon is now. Well, I think Canon is now shooting.
Hey, prosumer wasn't even a word. What, 3 years ago?
Okay, fine. Consumer and pro. If we want to go that way, then fine.
I think that's what you're seeing. I think you're seeing the prosumer take a step back into the consumer.
Right.
And the consumer's just taking a step forward into this. Hey, this is better than your point and shoot, but hey, we've got some point and shoots that are pretty good too. And then we're gonna have these mirrorless and then micro four thirds. But I think you're always going to have a specific. Oh, that was weird. I think we're always going to have a specific professional line of bodies and lenses. With Canon, it's the L and their 1Ds and their 5Ds and whatever they're going to come out with next. And then you're going to have the step down for the people that you're always going to have the base model that you can go to the Walmart or whatever and get, and Uncle Joe has it, and he's going to bring it to your wedding, and he's going to be your wedding photographer, whatever.
Yeah.
You're always going to have that. So I guess I can kind of see what you're saying, the melding, but I don't think it's a melding of pro and prosumer. I think it's a melding of, because like look at the 6D, the Canon 6D. That's not a consumer body.
Right.
But it's not really a pro body either, because it is full frame and it's got the higher megapixel rating, but it's still got parts that make it closer to their 60D and I think they're making that a 70D now,
but they know how to handicap the prosumer from like we're going to give you like was it 11 point AF versus was it 39 on the 5D Mark III. Right. There's certain handicaps, but at the same time we're going to offer you this really cool Wi-Fi option that actually works really well. So it's it kind of, the pros know what they're going to get. They're going to go get the 1DX and they're going to go get the 5D Mark III
because they don't need geotagging and they don't need all of that Wi-Fi connectivity.
But for me with the kids that wants the really awesome camera at some point, once if I'm going to get a bunch of clients that are going to pay me a bunch of money and I want to step up to the full frame for something cheaper with the cool Wi-Fi thing where I can step into the frame and take a family picture because my wife's always complaining about you're never in the pictures. So it gives me the cool option to still be the photographer. So and I kind of feel I'll admit I'm kind of in the prosumer.
Sorry.
Go out.
Hold on. Keep talking.
I'll admit, Joe, I'm in the prosumer range. I'm going to put that out there. People can
well, okay. So where I was going with this is that, and I'm trying to actually find the example online, and I'm a little distracted. Is I know Canon recently just released upgrades to a couple of their lenses. I want to say one of them is a 35mm, but I could be wrong. But they released upgrades to their lenses that all it had new was IS. And
right. We're going to take it's a $500 lens, and we're going to put IS in it and charge you $899 for it.
Exactly. And I think the reasoning behind that, besides them wanting to make money, is that it's something else that you can market to a prosumer, quote unquote, because hey, it's got IS, so you can take pictures and have them not necessarily be as blurry because your hand shakes.
Well, yeah, I have a friend that's doing legitimate good video work and all that, and he can't afford to go out and get like some C100 cinema camera or whatever, but he can do his T3i, gets some decent video, and he's if you give him I see that look, but no, I mean he's doing good stuff with a T3i, and you give him an IS lens, and he's able to upgrade his glass, still get a decent image, and get what he does done, and still pay for food for his family. Right.
Well, I think that's a good indication of where Canon's mindset is and I don't think anybody will really disagree. I think Canon's going after the film market.
Oh, no question. I mean,
the moving picture market, not film camera market. But
why else is the new kit lens on the prosumer ones the 24-105 IS f4? Why that? And then you look at it, and I was thinking about it this morning. I really think that Canon's starting to concede the full-on camera game to Nikon, and Nikon's conceding the video. This is just an observation. You can call me out on it, but I think Nikon's conceding the video because I don't know a lot of people shooting video on Nikon, but I know a lot of people shooting video on Canon. You know, I mean, everywhere you go, this ad was shot on a 5D Mark II and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, but I have friends that are buying Nikons, and none of them are buying it for the video. They're buying it for the image, you know, the actual still image, the camera. You know, that's what they're doing. So
Yeah,
that's just my thought. You know, they're probably not conceding, but you know, that's what it kind of appears like. Because Canon definitely is pushing for the video people, no doubt about it. IS on a 35mm and a 50mm lens, like really? You know, 24-70 f4 IS. I don't need that as doing an ambient light, you know, natural light photography, you know, photography or doing a shoot with that. That's not gonna cut it for me, you know, doing something like that, you know. But I can see it for video.
This will probably get Joe's panties in a good bunch. Didn't know this, and just looking this up, parts of the Avengers was allegedly shot with a 5D Mark II.
Oh, I'm not disputing that at all. I mean, Hollywood loves the 5D Mark II. They do. So it's not something where I'm saying IS is bad. I'm just saying that that's my observation. So, you know, call it as you will. But it's just interesting how a lot more of their lenses, like they have a macro lens now that has IS, which I'm totally.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with IS. I love it.
Yeah, totally okay with it. It's just more of an observation of, you know, I've heard a lot of, you know, pro photographers, and especially if you're shooting in a studio on a tripod, IS doesn't matter. You know, it's something that it doesn't really matter for you. But for somebody like me who's still trying to, I guess, find their craft, it's a different story. You know, my walkabout lens has IS on it, and I love it. Like, it saves my butt all the time. But, you know, I run into the issue that my sensor's crap. So, what are you gonna do?
I mean, IS is great for doing stuff like I shot a tiny little wedding. Ended up with a 24-105. I keep mentioning this lens, but I ended up with that on my camera. Did a wedding. The whole timeline ran really late, so I ended up wanting to do outside pictures. It was completely dark outside, and I wanted to get one of those giant wideouts with them in front of the hotel with just the light coming in from the back window and all that. And tell you what, the IS saved my tail. I got a really good picture, but you know, so that's kind of what you still need it for, is when you're still kind of, you know, faking it to make it, you know, and you want to get a good image, and it comes in for you then. But you know, but you're right, you know, tripods and stuff, you know, who's going to use that? But the guys with the video need it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Video, definitely. I mean, I guess anytime your camera is moving, you'll need it. But you know, there's definitely times where I would be hard pressed for them to, you know, update the 85 1.2 with IS. Because that thing is a monster.
I don't know, that sucker's heavy. I did an entire wedding.
It's a monster.
I did an entire wedding with that. My shots are starting to look angled at the end of the night.
Have you carried around the 70 to 200?
Yeah, 7200 is another big beast too. So, all right. So it looks like we're a few minutes before the end of the hour. So I guess we'll probably wrap up. And I've been getting live Facebook notifications of people live blogging the talk so far. So I'm sure we'll have plenty of footage for next time.
Really? I'm not seeing this. Where's this guy?
I am. But it was a remark on my post. I don't think that you commented on it, Zach. So anyway, but yeah, I want to thank you guys for coming today, and we'll definitely, you know, bring a group. I'm thinking this is pretty good. Hopefully Jamie can join us next time, maybe somebody else, and we'll talk more photo stuff. Looks like we have some great topics to talk soon, and you know, now that it's dark enough for me to actually use my iPad to, you know, show stuff.
Silly California.
So, but yeah, I think that this was a great talk today, and looks like we'll you know, tighten it up. And for a beta talk, I only got kicked off twice, so I'll call that a win.
Try using a real browser.
I'm in Chrome. But
and you haven't been kicked off once.
Yeah. So I'm using
I'm in
Chrome.
Chrome right now just because it was beneficial to log in to everything.
Yeah, I'm using Chrome. It's just that for some reason, Safari was sucking up all my processor. So
again,
yeah,
try using a real browser.
Okay. So
I just want to say it's kind of fun actually, like seeing an avatar move. Like I've only seen Joe through Avatar so far.
Oh yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
I'm uglier in person, but it's okay.
Motion
Don't worry
picture's
about it.
Kind of fun.
Yeah, that's why I like avatars, because I actually look better. So
I honestly hate seeing myself in pictures and on video and all that. So this is a step out for me. You guys forced me to do this, but I'm enjoying it.
well, hopefully we'll get you back. We'll get you back.
Oh,
All right,
I'll be back.
Awesome. So yeah, we'll end this. I don't know how often we're going to do this, but we'll figure that out later. But
Once a month.
yeah. So I guess have a great night, everybody, and signing off. This is Joe from the F Stops here.
This
Bye.
is Josh from